in upgrades coming to Wheatley's Harbor.
I'm hoping that we get a good share of that pie.
A historic billion-dollar investment to repair and upgrade small craft harbors.
They're going down, they're going down.
Swift water, swift action.
They wouldn't have had much opportunity or chance had they not had their life jackets on. And not to mention the cold water as well would eventually take you.
2 people rescued after a boat capsizes near Pesh Island. And financial relief.
Affordability is one of the most taxing things that families across Windsor-Essex are facing right now.
New funding for families who continue to struggle with the rising cost of living.
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on CTV Windsor and AM 800. The federal government is putting nearly $1 billion into small craft harbors across the country, including Wheatley. That's good news to the nearly 60 commercial fishing vessels that call Wheatley home in the high-stakes fishery game. CTV's Bob Belichico highlights what that money could mean for the industry and, of course, the town overall.
Well, Stefanie, Wheatley is definitely on the list, but it's yet unclear how much of that money will actually make it here. What is clear, though, is that something definitely needs to be done here at the entrance of the harbor.
I'm hoping that we get a good share of that pie.
That sentiment is shared up and down the shoreline across Canada. The federal government announcing $957.8 million for small craft harbors across the country, including Wheatley and Rondo.
To maintain nearly 950 federally owned small craft harbors across Canada.
The Minister of Democratic Institutions, Ariel Kayabaga, was in Wheatley to make the announcement, which is being embraced by harbors in the region.
Our biggest issues is the entrance to our harbor.
Val DeMello is a member of the Wheatley Harbor Committee and says dredging is imperative.
To make it a safe harbor, we have to be able to access this, whether that be for the commercial fishing or even any boat that's out there that just needs a safe harbor due to weather or a breakdown.
DeMello explains boats rub bottom, some get stuck, and some have gotten turned around. He says a pier extension is also important.
The east wall needs to go out 200-300 feet. That would shelter us a little bit better, and then we could avoid the continuous spending of dredging.
Wheatley Harbor is home to 59 commercial fishing vessels. The investment will help to encapsulate the east pier in steel, construct a new concrete deck along with dredging. The Rondo Harbor in Erie is home to 25 commercial fishing vessels and could use some help as well.
I know today they're down doing soundings so they can compare from the last one from over the winter and see if there's any changes, and then from there they can put it out to tender and get it done hopefully by the summer.
65,000 jobs rely on Canada's commercial fisheries, agriculture, and seafood processing sectors. Last year, exports from the sectors totaled close to $8.5 billion. Fisheries and Oceans Canada already has a budget of $90 million, which has helped to improve the harbor in Wheatley with updated hydro boxes.
Now it looks like we're all going to be on the same type of a plug-in circuit, so we'll all plug in the same way no matter what you do. Right?
Oh, that makes it
go
easy
from port to port.
Now, according to the minister, discussions are ongoing and the money will be used where most needed. The $957 million is out for tender right now and will be deployed at some point later this year. Stefanie, back over to you.
Okay. A lot of work ahead. Bob Belichico tonight. Thank you, Bob. Meanwhile, Windsor police are reminding boaters to be cautious of weather conditions after a boat capsized near Pesh Island this weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty.
Oh, babe. Babe.
They're going down, they're going down.
The police marine unit responding to calls for help on Sunday afternoon. Officers found a 9-foot boat capsized with a man and a woman clinging to the sides. Both individuals in their 50s were wearing life jackets, but struggling to stay afloat due to the strong current. Police pulled both people to safety before towing the vessel to shore. The boaters were treated at the scene for minor injuries. This incident is prompting a reminder to check the weather before hitting the water.
They wouldn't have had much opportunity or chance had they not had their life jackets on. And not to mention the cold water as well would eventually take you.
Harbor Master Peter Barry is reminding boaters to create a plan before they hit the water. The warmer months make for a busy time along the Detroit River and Lake St. Clair. He says it's important to keep a rope, a pail bucket, a whistle, and of course, wear your life jackets. Changing conditions are also reason to check the weather before heading out. Barry adds there's always a need to keep an eye on fellow boaters out in the area.
Could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for the folks that called to police as things were happening, called out to them as the police came into the marina. So having the public there to call out for help for those people in distress, that really saved their lives as well.
Chatham-Kent police are investigating a fatal train incident. Police say a pedestrian was struck by an eastbound passenger train in the area of Northwood Line Sunday afternoon. Police say despite emergency measures taken by the train operator, a 34-year-old man from Chatham was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say the rail corridor was temporarily closed as part of the investigation, but the train was later permitted to continue. Police say out of respect for the family, no further details will be released at this time. And charges have been laid in a vehicle crash in Leamington involving a cyclist. Police say the collision happened on Erie Street South on May 10th, just before 2:30 in the morning. The driver left the scene but was located shortly afterwards. A 36-year-old Leamington man is facing impaired charges, driving operation charges, and failing to stop at an accident. David Diaz has also had his license suspended for 90 days and vehicle impounded for 7. The cyclist suffered non-life-threatening injuries. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joining me now for our first look at the weather from the top of the Bell Building tonight. Gary, temperatures below seasonal.
They are by several degrees, about 5 degrees below seasonal. You're right about that, Stephanie. Good evening, folks. We are cloudy now. We did get some rather pleasant breaks of sunshine. You just need the light jacket, maybe a light sweater or hoodie today. A bit breezy, but the wind should die down. Mostly clear of any active weather across southwestern Ontario, most importantly where we live in the extreme southwestern parts. And it looks like it will be a quiet night, just a cold one. There's a frost warning in place, and it looks like parts of where we live will be affected. I'll break down what you need to know on that front just ahead. For now, I'll send it back to you inside at the desk. Stephanie?
After months of reporting a decrease in the number of Canadians traveling to the U.S., we can tell you about a bit of an uptick, but only in those driving across the border. Air travel is actually down considerably. CTV's Michael Couture has the numbers for us.
Ottawa's Tulip Festival is a huge draw for tourists. These Montrealers used to take an annual trip to the New England coast, but since Canada-U.S. relations started to wilt, they're traveling domestically instead.
Stay in Canada and spend our money here, rather than encourage the American people who have this silly leader that they've got.
And it seems they're not alone. Researchers from the University of Toronto analyzed Canadian cell phone usage in the U.S. over a period of 2 years and found a median decline of 42%, more than the initial estimates of a 25% decrease. But that did include freight travel and Canadians who have to travel to the U.S. for work.
We think they're taking a lot more meetings at home in Canada on Zoom.
Researchers say it's even more apparent in some industries hit by the trade war.
You're seeing much less travel to places like Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's not a loss of tourist travel. That's a loss of trade-related travel related to the auto industry.
The new numbers from Statistics Canada show a slight uptick in cross-border traffic last month. In April, 1.8 million Canadians made return trips to the U.S. That's up 1.4% compared to the same month in 2025. It's the first time there's been an overall increase since December of 2024.
There will be those that will not travel to the U.S. no matter what, but I'm seeing many that had that attitude at the beginning are now softening and actually traveling now and going there also.
Despite that bump, Stats Canada numbers show when you compare April of this year to April of 2024, before cross-border tensions reignited, travel is down by 30%. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
A Windsor jury called to begin a second-degree murder trial was unexpectedly sent home this morning when the accused pleaded guilty instead. It's in relation to a fatal shooting and head-on crash downtown more than 4 years ago. CTV's Michelle Molesky joining us with the details on this case tonight. Michelle.
Stefanie, Abdishakar Haroon is now 37 years old. He's been in jail since November 2021. Instead of going to trial for second-degree murder this morning, he pleaded guilty instead to the lesser offense of manslaughter.
Abdishakar Haroon has admitted that he was in possession of this illegal handgun with defaced serial numbers in November 2021. While seated in the back seat of this black SUV, court learned the handgun went off through the driver's seat into the left buttock of 44-year-old Percy Basil Scott. The injury caused him to collide head-on with a parked SUV on Dougal just north of University Avenue on November 18th. Before he got out of the vehicle, Haroon also admitted that he fired the handgun again and it struck Scott in the face. He was pronounced dead in hospital. After the shooting, Windsor police tracked Haroon to a hotel just outside of London using his cell phone GPS. The handgun used in the shooting was discovered 4 days later, discarded in an alley garbage can behind Palliser Street by a man who was searching for empty beer cans.
The Crown attorneys did not explain the relationship between Scott and Haroon today, nor was a motive for the shooting given to the judge. A date for Haroon's sentencing will be chosen next week. Stefanie.
Okay, Michelle, thank you for this.
You're welcome.
In other news, the Windsor Jewish Federation and Community Center is speaking out after receiving alleged hate-motivated voicemails over the last 2 weeks described as anti-Semitic.
We've received 7 messages from this individual, even after the police had spoken to him and said to him, you are not to contact the Jewish Community Center. The same day the police had spoken to him, he left us some more voicemails. Very much the tone of Jews are evil, Jews should be hurt, and just things that are unacceptable.
The Jewish Federation says between April 23rd and May 5th, a total of 8 derogatory voicemails, including one sent to a local synagogue, were sent by the same individual, all between 30 and 60 seconds in length. Windsor police say the messages didn't have direct threats of harm, but the tone, frequency, and content displayed targeted harassment. As we reported last week, a 31-year-old suspect was arrested and charged with 2 counts of harassing communications. Executive Director Marian Zeller says security protocols are in place not only in Windsor, but at Jewish centers across the country.
We're living in Canada, in a free society, and the fact that a Jewish organization should have to have security protocols because we have fear for our safety is just unacceptable. Even our own community members have to be granted access. They can't freely walk into a building that is there to support them and serve them.
A new federal investment will help bring relief to Windsor Essex as more families struggle with the rising cost of living. CTV's Chris Campbell shows us how a new 3-year funding commitment to Family Services Windsor Essex will allow them to expand financial supports for thousands of people.
Family Services Windsor Essex says more families are being pushed to the brink as soaring costs for food, housing, and fuel drive a growing demand for financial assistance.
Affordability is one of the most taxing things that families across Windsor Essex are facing right now.
A new $700,000 federal investment through Prosper Canada's Resilient Futures initiative is expected to expand their free services and offer help with filing taxes, financial planning, and support for accessing benefits.
There's hundreds of thousands of dollars being left on the table that people are not accessing because either the system is a little bit too complicated for them or they're not filing their taxes and they don't understand or appreciate that they are eligible for those additional income benefits or tax credits.
Executive Director Sierra Holmes says the organization is hearing from more residents who may not traditionally qualify as low income, but are still struggling to stay afloat financially.
People are trying to find any way that they can to just keep their head above water.
Holmes says many residents are also missing out on financial financial supports simply because they are not filing taxes or don't realize what benefits they qualify for. Prosper Canada says billions of dollars in benefits go unclaimed across the country each year.
For example, if you're a single mother and you're not filing your taxes, you're probably foregoing close to 50% of your income.
The announcement comes as economic uncertainty and tariff concerns continue to weigh heavily on Windsor-Essex residents.
People are worried about even putting food on their table.
The groceries right now, it's getting so expensive that we cannot afford it anymore.
Some Windsorites say they're already changing spending habits to cope with rising prices.
Whatever I want to order, I make at home. I'm not ordering anymore.
Especially planning car trips, whether you're going to drive somewhere. You want to get, if you got 3 things to do, you want to get them all done at once, instead of having to make 3 different trips,
Family Services says the expanded program is also aimed at preventing housing loss by helping connect people with financial supports before they reach a crisis point. Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Retirement at 65 is becoming less common in Canada. New data from Statistics Canada shows more seniors are staying in the workforce than ever before. In fact, nearly 1.2 million Canadians over 65 were still working in 2025. So how do you feel about it? Do you plan to work past the age of 65? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. On Friday, we asked if you think it's easy to get a job in Windsor. Out of almost 1,000 responses, 80% say no. Working at TRQSS in Lakeshore have ratified a new 3-year contract. Unifor Local 444 says the deal includes wage increases totaling more than 17%, along with added paid time off and improved benefits for more than 500 employees at the Patillo Road Auto Parts Plant. Workers have been prepared to strike early Friday before a tentative agreement was reached, just hours ahead of the deadline. A long day at Windsor City Hall with heated debate over a controversial Cabana Road apartment development and continued discussions surrounding the province's proposed overhaul of conservation authorities. CTV's Sanjay Maru was there and joins me now with a recap of today's City Council meetings. Sanjay.
That's right, Stephanie. Let's focus on that development in South Windsor for a minute. It's one that has some residents concerned about traffic and the future character of the neighborhood. City administration does acknowledge the development will change the character of the neighborhood, but say there's little they can do to stop it from being built. Windsor City Council has approved a controversial 29-unit apartment development at Cabana Road West and Casgrain Drive. The development by Homes by Artisan would replace 2 single-family homes with a 3-story apartment building.
Developers are going to look for the opportunity where they can actually make money on some of these projects, and so that's why we put limits on height. We put requirements on depth and setback from the road. We tried to deal with a number of the issues with respect to shadowing.
The project features a building height of just over 10 meters, new landscaping and screening requirements, along with 37 parking spaces. Much of the debate Monday centering around whether vehicles should be allowed to enter and exit directly onto Cabana Road rather than just on Casgrain Drive.
You're going to see more development there in Cabana, and if they accept the fact that you can't have an exit and entrance off Cabana, that's all going to spill over onto Bartlett to suffer, and again, you're creeping it back into the neighborhood.
Council ultimately approving the development in an 8-3 vote, along with allowing direct access onto Cabana Road. Also drawing attention at City Hall Monday, the province's planned overhaul of conservation authorities. IRCA CAO Tim Burney telling Council the organization has helped secure tens of millions of dollars for Windsor shoreline projects, helping offset some of the city's long-term infrastructure costs. Adding Windsor's shoreline is far more developed than many other regions across Ontario.
We are unique within the province of having, within the city of Windsor, almost 100% of the city's shoreline. It has been fully developed to support park and recreational use. The rest of the shoreline, Detroit River shoreline and Lake St. Clair shoreline, is fully developed with residential development.
Council also raising questions about what could happen to locally controlled conservation authority properties under the province's plan.
Think of the Colavino property as for example. That was a direct bequeathment to the Essex Region Conservation Authority. Just to simply have the province say we're going to upload that property to this larger regional unit, I'm not sure that stands, that could would withstand legal scrutiny in a court of law.
Council plans to ask the province to give more consideration to how Conservation Authority assets and properties would be transferred under this proposed new regional structure. Stefanie.
Okay, Sanjay, thank you for this. Meantime, road work along Highway 3 is entering a new phase starting today. Traffic between Essex and Leamington is shifting onto newly built lanes beside the existing highway. One lane will remain open in each direction while crews rebuild the current roadway. Work will run through the spring and summer. Drivers should expect possible delays and are urged to use caution. Several side roads, including Cameron, Marsh, and Upcott, will remain closed, along with sections of County Road 34 through mid-June. We do want to hear from you. Do you have thoughts, comments, or a question about a story? Please text us at 10400. Still ahead on Windsor's news leader, Canada is tightening sanctions on Russia, accusing its government of violating the rights of Ukrainian children. And tomorrow, artificial intelligence is rewriting the rules, but a powerful new cybersecurity partnership could reshape how leaders prepare for digital threats. That's tomorrow at 6 on CTV News. Canada is imposing new sanctions on Russia, accusing its government of violating the rights of Ukrainian children.
Russia is stealing Ukrainian children, indoctrinating Ukrainian children, and refusing to return these children to their families.
Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand spoke in Brussels today with the International Coalition for the Return of Ukrainian Children. Global Affairs says thousands of Ukrainian children have been deported or forcibly transferred since Russia first invaded in 2014. The new sanctions include 23 individuals and 5 entities, which the government says have been involved in these violations. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked Canada, the UK, and the EU for the new sanctions today. In an online post, he said they must continue working together to bring all Ukrainian children home and, quote, ensure that everyone behind these crimes is held accountable. American President Donald Trump has rejected Iran's response to the latest American proposal to end the war. He called the Iranian response totally unacceptable.
Everything we put forward in our proposed text consisted of reasonable and responsible demands and generous proposals.
Iranian officials say the U.S. proposal amounted to surrender. Tehran's demand includes full control over the Strait of Hormuz and an end to sanctions. In an interview with 60 Minutes, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the war on Iran is not over, and both the U.S. and Israel aim to bring an end to Tehran's nuclear ambitions. Precautionary measures are in place with Canadian passengers who are on board a cruise ship and affected by the deadly outbreak of the Hantavirus, now home and isolating. Those who may have been exposed on international flights are also being monitored. None are infected. CTV's Heather Wright looks at efforts to contain the spread, not just in Canada, but around the world.
Most of the roughly 130 passengers aboard the MV Hondius have returned home or are in the process of getting there, including 4 Canadians who arrived in British Columbia after being flown from the Canary Islands on Sunday.
All 4 were and continue to be well and have no symptoms.
BC's top doctor Bonnie Henry says while strict isolation protocols were put in place aboard the cruise ship in early May, 2 passengers, an American and a French national, have tested positive for the virus since returning home, reinforcing the need for strict public health protocols during the incubation period.
We are all hoping that the 4 people who are here with us will remain well through this incubation period, but this is exactly why we are taking the precautions and why plans are in place should their conditions change.
Henry says the quarantine clock for the 4 Canadians started yesterday. They will quarantine for 21 days and be monitored for 42, the longest known incubation period for the virus, a rare rodent-borne pathogen that can cause serious illness in humans. 3 people have died since the deadly outbreak began aboard the Hantavirus, with at least 7 confirmed cases and 2 reported cases. More than 20 countries are now working to contain the spread of the virus, including Canada, where at least 10 people are being monitored. Today, Ontario's Minister of Health confirmed a 3rd person is now self-isolating in the province.
We have not seen any indication that they were in close contact and would become symptomatic.
Today, the ship's captain released a video praising the resolve of the passengers and the crew.
And I must commend my crew for the courage and the selfless resolve that they showed time and again in the most difficult moments.
And in a sign of just how quickly things can change, the World Health Organization says the French passenger who began experiencing symptoms on the flight back home is now in hospital in critical condition. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
The ongoing conflict in the Hormuz Strait putting forward pressure on the gas and price of fuel. Those prices now looming over a favorite summer activity and economic driver, boating. And as CTV's Heather Wright reports, some are rethinking their plans altogether.
Wet weather and high water have meant a slow start to the season at Kawartha Lakes Marina in Bobcaygeon, Ontario. Boats are being launched, but marina owner Chad Hinton says some clients are considering skipping this summer.
We have a few people that are on the fence about whether or not the boat may go in. Fuel prices and general cost of living.
Nationally, the average price of gas is hovering around $1.90 per litre, according to the CAA. 1 year ago, the national average was 131.8 cents a litre. The price of fuel at marinas is already higher than gas sold in town, and so what is an expensive hobby is becoming even costlier. Hinton says the price of gas won't stop many from getting out on the water, but it will force some to rethink their summer plans.
For the family of 4 that saves enough to go away for a week on vacation every year, if groceries have gone up and fuel has gone up, they definitely change what they're doing on vacation.
The cost of boating depends on a number of things: the size of the boat, tank size, speed, wind. And so while some are choosing to keep their boats in storage this summer, others say they will get out on the lake but make adjustments in other areas in order to save some money. Barclay Elliott's boat is his cottage, and while he has no plans to keep it tied up this season, he is mindful of the high cost of gas.
What it may do is, instead of 10 trips, I'll do 9.
According to Transport Canada, more than 12 million Canadian adults participate in recreational boating each year, an industry that contributes roughly $5.6 billion to Canada's GDP. But the high cost of living and soaring gas prices could further impact an industry already experiencing uncertainty. Murray Hadfield sells boats in the Kawartha area where clients have been forced to drastically reduce their prices.
They started advertising OBO, or best offer, and they still couldn't get action in the fall.
While gas prices might not soon return to where they were last summer, there is some hope that they will start to come down before this boating season is over. Heather Wright, CTV News, Bobcaygeon, Ontario.
Canada's main stock index was helped by gains in the basic materials sector. In Toronto, the TSX gained 61 points. In New York, the Dow added 95. The Nasdaq is up 27. The Canadian dollar gained 1/10 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold fell $2 an ounce and oil added $2.65 a barrel. Ontario pharmacists will be able to assess and prescribe medications for 9 more conditions starting in July. We'll tell you which ones coming up.
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Mark Hewer for this great early morning sunrise image. If you've got one, text it to us at 10400. Just ahead, will frost be an issue early tomorrow morning? Will showers be in store for Tuesday afternoon? We'll find out next on CTV News Windsor.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app. From moment to moment, things change. CTVNewsWindsor.ca is Windsor's #1 source for online news. Watch every story from wherever you are, the moment it happens. CTVNewsWindsor.ca.
A mix of sun and cloud out there. It was chilly this morning, and that will continue into overnight.
Perhaps even colder with a frost warning that's in place for the Chatham-Kent area. Technically not for Windsor, Essex, Tecumseh and the surrounds, but temperatures projected to get down to about +1 or +2, and even at those temperatures, that can do damage to vegetation. So just be wary and notice it extends not just through southwestern Ontario, southern central, the GTA, but as far east as Montreal. And that, of course, includes the nation's capital. The worst case scenario is we will be in the frost tomorrow morning, so covering up the plants is a good idea and taking care of our furry-legged friends, no doubt. Reached a high of 14.2 unofficially. Our norm or average high is just shy of 20 degrees, 19.6 as of May the 11th on the calendar. Air quality is good under mostly cloudy conditions. We're holding at 12 degrees in Chatham-Kent at our weather station there. That's 56, close to about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm seeing 12.4, but let's call it 55. And we're looking at 57 or 14 in Windsor, Essex. It is warmer across the prairies. 15 in Calgary, but much warmer in Regina and Saskatoon in the low 20s. Winnipeg's even warmer than we are at 16. Cooler air across Ontario and the Great Lakes proper. Ridge of high pressure is going to keep us quiet, though, and relatively clear through the overnight. We'll see some sunshine because of this for tomorrow morning before the rain starts to move in, and we'll see that rain close to about, say, 4 p.m. It's going to be an interesting situation to see how this really unfolds. Light rain showers coming from the west, draped across Michigan, moving into southwestern Ontario. There could be some thunderstorm activity Tuesday night, overnight into Wednesday morning from the same system. The rainfall tallies are not too impressive. At least as of right now, the projection is we'll get close to about 5 to 10 millimeters of rainfall as it works its way towards us. Tonight, mainly clear with the wind out of the north, and we'll be down to about 5 degrees by midnight. Take a look at our 7-day forecast, courtesy of Enicure Siles. Showers in the afternoon, frosty for the morning. Just keep that in mind. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we will be up and down with temperatures mid-teens to low 20s, and then in the 20s with fair weather as we head towards Monday, hopefully next week.
Ontario is expanding the role of pharmacists once again in a move to improve access to everyday care and reduce pressure on the health system. Starting in July of this year, pharmacists will be able to administer vaccines for 6 more diseases, including tendinitis, shingles, and RSV. They will also be able to assess and prescribe treatments for 9 common conditions, such as mild headaches, dry eye, nasal congestion, and ringworm. The province's further expansions are planned, with more conditions expected to be added to the growing list in 2027. For the full list of vaccines and ailments, go to our website, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Second Harvest is calling for a national food waste reduction framework with Canada's food security strategy. This includes an examination of the use of best before and expiry dates on product packaging. The report says Canada wastes 46% of its food, with nearly a quarter of that linked to confusion around labels. The organization is calling for the establishment of national food waste reduction targets, modernizing best before date labeling, and investing in the charitable hunger relief sector so surplus food reaches communities. Spencer Dion, a nurse in the clinical teaching unit at Windsor Regional Hospital, has been recognized for going above and beyond in patient care and is this year's recipient of the Lois Fairley Nursing Award. Dion, who has been a nurse for 4 years, was nominated by Ryan Peebles after caring for his mother following a severe stroke. In his nomination, Peebles said Spencer created a sense of home, bringing flowers and photos to her hospital room and even using personal days to ensure consistent care. He says her compassion continued long after his mother moved to a nursing home. Spencer says receiving the award is an incredible honor.
I just try my best every day to make a change in somebody's life, no matter how big or how small that is. Sometimes that's advocating for your patients, sometimes that's helping them braid their hair.
Coming up, honoring those who served in Canada's first overseas deployment in history. Windsor honored those who served in Canada's first overseas deployment in the country's history. Officials gathering at the Boer War Memorial in Jackson Park on Saturday. The war in South Africa spanned 3 years and included more than 7,000 Canadians. Windsor Essex sent around 48 people to serve in the overseas conflict. Windsorite Bonnie Bernian says her grandfather survived the war. She hopes Canadians will continue to remember him and all the veterans who sacrificed for generations to come.
Hopefully by the awareness, things like this service today, and the media putting the information out, and it would be nice if it was taught in schools. I'm not sure what they teach in schools, but it's important to remember your history and where we came from and how we got here. And this is partly how we got there.
Windsor baseball players can now swing for the fences at their newly renovated field.
All right, here we go. There you go. All right.
Mayor Drew Dilkins throwing the first pitch at the upgraded Father Cullen Baseball Stadium. A new backstop with netting and padding has been installed, along with new benches and updates to the dugouts. Windsor received $150,000 through the Jays Care Foundation Field of Dreams program. The city matched the funding to give the diamond a fresh new look.
I can tell you, being a former player and certainly being a coach, that anytime you can show up at a field and have it looking as nice as it can be, it certainly makes you feel like you want to play a little bit better. It gives you more of a big league look and feel. So it's definitely something that I hope the players will enjoy.
Canadian comedy legend Martin Short has opened up publicly for the first time about the death of his daughter, Catherine, who took her own life earlier this year.
You know, it's been a nightmare for the family, but the understanding that mental health and cancer, like my wife, are both diseases. And sometimes with diseases, they are terminal. And my daughter fought for a long time with extreme mental health, borderline personality disorder, other things, and did the best she could until she couldn't.
But that's the point.
Also, Short's wife, as you heard, Nancy, died after a battle with ovarian cancer in 2010. The interview on CBS came before a documentary about Short's life and career titled Marty, Life is Short. It streams on Netflix starting tomorrow. And Windsor is set to turn up the volume this fall as the 89X birthday bash returns to the Coliseum at Caesars Windsor. The 16-plus show on September 4th will feature Windsor's own blues rock duo, the Bluestones, Canadian rock heavyweights Default and rising act Fionn. Default will celebrate the 25th anniversary of their platinum-selling album, The Fallout, which include hits like Wasting My Time and Deny. Tickets are expected to draw strong demand for the milestone concert event.
We play them all in the Bluestones, great friends of the station. Default, we're very excited to be talking to Dallas Smith from the band as well, coming up about that too.
We want you to see the Black Keys as they ignite the Coliseum stage on their Peaches and Cream Tour, October 18th. Enter online at ctvwindsor.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see the Black Keys at Caesars Windsor, plus a $200 gift card.
This is your CTV Windsor Our Community Calendar. Join us on Saturday, June the 13th for an unforgettable night of fashion in partnership with Fashion Week Windsor Essex, all in support of the Kidney Foundation. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. Now, Melanie, you do have some details from the Transit Windsor director as the province really does target drug use.
That's right. While welcoming provincial measures aimed at improving transit safety, Transit Windsor officials say public transit is still a safe way to get around. Executive Director James Chaco says most concerns raised locally are happening at bus stops and shelters rather than on-board Transit Windsor buses. Last week, the province announced plans to give special constables the power to arrest people caught doing drugs on public transit. Windsor doesn't have transit police, but Chaco says onboard protections are in place. We've got those details and more online at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we also have an online story, Melanie, about the construction of a new fire hall in Essex.
Yeah, so Mayor Sherry Bondi says that Essex Fire Station 3, that construction is about to get underway. The new $4.8 million fire hall will be built at the Harrow Soccer Complex. The town has put up fencing around the construction site, which will reduce parking on soccer days, but accessible parking remains available. Bondi says it should be complete in about a year. And in our social spotlight, have you ever wondered what birds might be saying to each other?
Mate, I'm on the branch. Where are you?
Mate, I'm here. I'm looking for you.
Yeah, I'm on the branch.
Yeah, I know you're on a branch, but
It's that branch I told you about.
Mate, I'm going to need you to get a little bit more specific for me.
So Australian animator Sam Cotton posted this funny video of birds on a branch and a bridge, and he added a little animated cell phones, kind of like they're trying to find each other. So this is how I actually imagine them talking, Stefanie. I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny.
You know what? I never actually imagined what birds would actually talk about, but this is what I love about social media. Yeah. This like literally makes you giggle and laugh, sparks a little bit of joy. So yeah, so
exactly.
Cute. Okay, if viewers at home want to submit a video for our trending segment, how can they do it?
They can email us at newsnow@bellmedia.ca or text it to 10400.
And that's what's happening now. Thank you, Melanie. Still ahead, why scientists turned a natural disaster and a resulting tsunami into a video game. Gary, once again, bring those plants in.
Yes, very good point. And Dino is never outside when it's too cold. Of course, he's got a nice comfy jacket he got for Christmas. But frosty conditions through the early morning. All of our furry friends, our feline and canine friends should be indoors. And some of you might have rabbits or ferrets. Keep that in mind for them, too. Wouldn't want to exclude anyone. Tomorrow's sunny to start, but rain showers for us in Windsor, say about 3:30, 4 o'clock to begin. A little bit later, maybe an hour later than that for Chatham-Kent. Some more rain for Wednesday, possibly Thursday early in the morning. Friday, Saturday will be cloudy, but look at the warm up into the 20s, and we could see temperatures close to 25, 26. Saturday and Sunday, and of course Monday 22 showers. That's Victoria Day.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Travis joining me now. Travis, I hear you're ready to retire.
I mean, sure, but it sounds like more and more these days people are doing it a little bit later. So tonight at 11 we are talking more about retirement, which we talked about earlier in the show, and whether 65 is still the finish line. More and more people seem to be working past 65. Tonight we'll look at why that may be and what people can do now to better prepare for retirement and make that fixed income go a little further. CTV's Robert Lothian will have that story for us tonight at 11.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Travis. Finally tonight, scientists say a massive mountain collapse in a remote Alaskan fjord unleashed a massive tsunami, but with no one there to witness it, researchers turned to an unusual solution, recreating the disaster in a video game in order to study its impact. Jeremy Roth explains.
Scientists are taking their studies of a skyscraper-sized tsunami that recently occurred in Alaska to another level by making a 3D jet ski riding video game out of it. No, not kidding. Let me explain. Researchers say in August of 2025, an entire mountainside broke off of a massive Alaskan glacier, sliding into the sea and creating a gargantuan 1,500-foot-plus tall tsunami that tore through the remote Tracy Arm Fjord, causing immense destruction to the landscape. No one was around to see the cataclysmic event, but scientists say data indicates the resulting tsunami was the second tallest ever on record, nearly as tall as New York City's Freedom Tower. Since then, teams of researchers have been studying the event to determine not just how it may have occurred, but how to raise awareness in coastal residents. Enter a 3D video game-like animation created by a University of Southern California team showing the tsunami from the perspective of a jet skier trying to outrun the huge wall of water. Researchers say the model offers visceral visual public education on the size and scope of events like these. And while they admit the animation may not win any awards, it offers the next best and safest thing to actually being there. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
I know no one experienced or witnessed that, but boy.
I'm just picturing that. If you've been at the base of the Freedom Tower, and I used to live in New York City, looking, I mean, it's a massive building, and just seeing a wall of water coming at you at high velocity, it's pretty incredible. Of course, the jet ski survived in the game, but that wouldn't be the case in real life.
I would not want to be on a jet ski in front of it in real life.
Definitely not. Okay, on behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching.
For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
Gary and I will be back with your only late local newscast at 11.
Remember to wear your life jacket.